The losing streak ends today. And Mark Carman's still a hater. CHGO Bears pregame starts right now. Welcome into the CHGO Bears pregame show. The Bears are out in Santa Clara, California. We are here in our West Loop studios on a beautiful, beautiful December day in Chicago, best city that exists in the world. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Corey Wootton, Greg Braggs Jr. with you as the Bears are going to end the losing streak today.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it today.
What's your Carm? You think the 49ers are going to win?
Yeah, that's correct, Woot. I did pick the 49ers because, they have this guy by the name of Brock Purdy, and they got Deebo Samuel, and they've got, I don't know, George Kittle's pretty good, and what's the Bears' record on the road? 0-5, and everybody wants to put it on. Oh, it's all Matt Eberflus' fault. We'll see.
There's also a lot of people out.
I know.
Christian McCaffrey, Mason, Trent Williams,
Bosa.
I believe, is out. Bosa.
Right. No, they should. The Bears have a great chance to win it. They absolutely do. I hope I'm wrong.
And do you think there's something to be said for the frustration of the team with Matt Eberflus? Now there's a likable guy that the locker room has rallied behind in Thomas Brown, them coming out ready to go. And then defensively, we've seen a drop-off the past couple of weeks for Eberflus, which is known as a defensive coach. So I think we'll see both sides of the football today reinvigorated, ready to go.
Well, the man that will be calling the defense, Woot played for him. So we're gonna learn a lot today. We got a lot to talk about. But as we like to do on our pregame show to start, we talk about what matters most today. And, most of the weeks probably has a lot to do with Caleb Williams. You can certainly still argue that. But I'm going to go with the new guy, Thomas Brown, in the house, taking over. To me, that's what matters most. How he fares today, how the team plays for him, and can he realistically I think he's already a candidate for this job, but can he really put himself in contention for the head coaching job? That is going to be contingent on how the Bears play under his watch over the next 5 weeks. And if the Bears were to come out and have a really good start to finish win today over a solid football team like the San Francisco 49ers, what do you think we're all going to be talking about post-game and tomorrow and all week in this town?
T. Brown is our savior.
You didn't know where you were going.
He had
with that,
no
did you?
idea.
You started talking and you had no idea what
say.
you were about to say.
Well, I went through
Downtown Thomas Brown.
I went through a ton of rhymes, and I didn't like any of them, so I slowed myself down, and I just backed it up a little bit, which is totally fine. I'm allowed to do that. Listen, I would love to celebrate Thomas Brown all week long, 5 weeks long, next season long. I am rooting for this guy. You guys can all jump on the bandwagon right now. I was the early buyer on Brown. I knew about Brown. You guys are just following me down Thomas Brown Lane, and that's totally cool. You're welcome. Everybody can come on board.
Such a buyer that you're picking them to lose today.
Yeah.
You're all in. You're all in.
Yeah, yes, because I like to get value, and I know that all you fine gentlemen that I get to do this show with don't have the guts to pick against the Bears. So
there it is.
There it is.
He's playing the picking poker game.
Yes.
He's not actually picking what he believes.
Yep.
He's trying to juice his win-loss record.
So there's this guy over here. His name is Greg Braggs, who actually thinks that in a game that's a 3-point spread right now on the road, that you think it's going to happen. Do you? You can see clear. See, paint the picture of how this is going.
I think if you watch the last 3 weeks where the Bears played some of the best teams in the NFC and held their own, I expect that trend to continue offensively, and I do expect that this Bears defense will have a reinvigorated effort now that Matt Eberflus is gone. And that, if I'm going to skip ahead to what matters most to me.
Thank you, Greg.
Go for it.
For me, what matters most is that this Chicago Bears team cannot lay an egg today. There's been a lot of things said, especially over the last week, over the last month, and some, people that are very upset with the way the coaches have handled things, and that's fine. They're gone now. Matt Eberflus is gone. Shane Waldron is gone. And now it's all on the table for you guys as players to show that that was the reason things weren't going the way you wanted. You're not playing one of the best teams in the NFC right now. You're playing a struggling 49ers team. Yes, it's on the road. Yes, they have a lot of good players that have a lot of experience getting to Super Bowls and things of that nature. But at the same time, I do expect them to win. But the one thing I do know is they cannot lay an egg today. They absolutely cannot lay an egg. You can lose in a hard-fought game like you have the last 3 weeks, but after all the shit that's been talked here over the last week and Matt Eberflus being shown the door and everybody saying, okay, now Thomas Brown's got us right, you cannot lay an egg today here in San Francisco for yourselves, for your pride, and for your new interim head coach.
I agree with that. And what matters most in this game for me is the running game on both sides of the ball, right? Defensively stopping the run, something that we've struggled. And I'm hoping now that Eric Washington, interim DC, really preaches this week, right? Stopping the run, because I think that's what the 49ers are going to try to do. They're without Trent Williams. Christian McCaffrey's not there. Mason as well. So I think if you can stop the run, you put the pressure on Brock Purdy. He's really struggled this season. Then offensively, you look at the 49ers have really struggled defensively stopping that run. So Swifty, Roschon Johnson really need to have great games, and I think it'll mix and match that run with the play action. It'll set up Caleb and company in that offense. So I think this game comes down to stopping the run and then running the football offensively.
So for my what matters most, I'm going to go and chalk here, Hoge. That is, of course, it's the quarterback at this point. I mean, I don't think we can run away from it. 5 games to go. It's about Caleb. It's about 18 being, in my mind at least, better early. The Bears are just getting off to a lot of slow starts. So I would love to see first possession, go down the field, play with some aggressiveness, confidence, whatever. Use the run game. Let's, hopefully DeAndre Swift is healthy enough to do it today. And I think Travis Homer's going to get a bunch of opportunities here with, Roschon being concussed and whatnot. So, look, I would love to see, and I know we're having.
You just can't resist, can you?
No.
I was waiting. I was actually timing how long Carm would go without acknowledging.
I mean, you're standing up and doing whatnot. There's an acknowledgement going on all over the place.
Yeah, but I checked that I was off camera first.
Okay. Is this show over? Caleb Williams, you're my guy. I'm betting on him today, too. Not to jump ahead because I want to follow the protocol here. But I think he's going to do it. But that's what that's what I'm looking at. What? Yes.
Welcome to the CHGO Bears pregame show, where every week
we must stay in order.
We pretend as if this is Mark Carman's first ever pregame show every week.
All right. There were some interesting, one interesting thing on the inactives. First of all, most importantly, everybody, in case you didn't already hear, DeAndre Swift and DJ Moore are both playing today. They're good to go. They're active, and they're in the lineup. That's very notable. However, the Bears are going to be without Roschon Johnson today. So, who gets more of those carries? Is it Travis Homer? Is it Darrington Evans, who's back with the team and coming off the practice squad and elevated and up today, so he could get some playing time too. But on the inactive list, also notable, in my opinion, is that Larry Borom is inactive. And Karan Amagaji, the rookie third-round pick, who's been dealing with a ton of injuries, is up. So he would figure to be your swing tackle today instead of Larry Borom. And I think it's worth noting that Borom was the one who gave up that sack right before the chaos in Detroit that kind of started that whole thing. Didn't get the check, or I should say the snap count. Whether that was changed or not, I'm not sure. I don't think it was, but he was not on the same page, and now he's not dressed today.
there's a correlation or Amagachi's more healthy now, or they feel comfortable where he's at.
I think it was the showing Larry Borum had last week that has something to do with it as well.
Well,
I mean, he looked lost out there last week.
Well, look, I think we do have to live in some level of you're 4-8. I understand if you win out, you're not mathematically eliminated yet, but I would like to see young guys get opportunity. And Carman, you drafted him in the 3rd round. If he's healthy to play, I'd rather see him out there at this point than Larry Borum, unless you think it's going to impale Caleb Williams, which if that's the case, that's a real problem.
QB safety is the number 1 cohort.
So, the fact that they're showing confidence in Amagachi, I'm gonna say that's a good thing. The Tyler Scott thing, I don't get it. He's just really just completely fallen off the map. You can't get on the field at all. One of the fastest guys in that room. I'd like to see him get some opportunity here down the stretch. It hasn't. I mean,
where do you think he fits in this scheme? Like,
where do I think he fits?
Well, nobody's hurt. Everybody's active. Yeah. Why would that all of a sudden change this week?
Keenan Allen's been getting more touches. Him and Caleb seem to be on the same page. DJ Moore, right? You got Cole Kmet as well.
Well, as I went through the week, like, and no one's look. I was when Keenan was banged up, when DJ was banged up. I don't want those guys to be out, but is Keenan Allen on this football team next year? I know he said this week that he wants to be, but do you think Keenan Allen's on this football team next year?
I think they'll probably talk to Caleb after the season to say, "Do you want this guy back?" And if they can work it out price wise, I mean, if he finishes the season as a valuable target for him,
can I just back up a second? Did you not just tell us that the thing that matters most today is Caleb Williams?
Yes.
So you want to take Keenan Allen off the field to put Tyler Scott on?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Not completely, but I don't want to take Allen off. I'll give you somebody else.
What are you going to take Rome
Guys,
off?
if you can't hear us, trust me right now, that's a good thing.
Listen.
Hold on. But just, can you answer the question where he fits in this? Rome, DJ, Keenan Allen.
How about this? Can he play over DeAndre Carter?
No.
Why not?
Because as the coaches have told you 500 times, they trust DeAndre Carter to play every position, which is another way of them telling you they don't trust Tyler Scott.
Yeah. And
they're answering your question.
And here's another way I'm going to tell you. Did DeAndre Carter have a huge faux pas on special teams that basically contributed to one of the 6 losses in a row? Did that happen?
He did fumble. Yes, he fumbled the ball.
He's also had some really good special teams plays at the same time.
Is he on the team next year? Are we going to live in reality or are we going to live in fantasy land?
Is Tyler Scott on the team next year?
I'd
say probably not.
I would like to give him an opportunity to see if he can be.
He already got that opportunity.
He's in his second year.
He hasn't made a single contested catch.
He's in his second year. He hasn't been on the field at all season. Why even keep him on the roster then?
I
should have traded him for a 7th round pick. By the way,
stop inventing trades that don't exist. They probably would have if anybody was offering.
Listen, I'm not inventing trades. I told you earlier in the year. Nobody listens to Carman.
He just growled it.
Well, because it doesn't make because people just want to say things that don't make sense. Should Velus Jones have been cut?
Yes,
he should have been. You're playing Travis freaking Homer today. Why would you not want to be banking on a guy who was getting 9 yards per carry and is in his 3rd year that you drafted? Would you not rather see him on the field right now and see if he can pop it versus Travis sad-ass Homer?
Hold on. Has there not been a fumbling issue with Velus Jones? Not just a one-time thing like DeAndre Carter, right? Has there been constant turning
He was the...
Am I imagining things? Or
Velus was 3rd in the NFL last year. Somebody check my math on that, but whatever, on kick returns, okay? Like, he kicked one damn ass ball this year. His history on kickoff returns was not doing that. I get the punt returns, that's fine. He was running 9 yards a carry. They finally figured out to put him in the backfield. They cut his ass. He's in Jacksonville. We're playing Travis Homer. That sucks. Khalil Herbert, by the way, could be useful today too. You knew that DeAndre Swift wasn't going to get through the season fully healthy. Roshan, explain to me what I mean. I'm rooting for Roshan, but like, does anybody think that Roshan Johnson's going to be dynamic back in the NFL? I don't see it. So I would have liked to have seen those 2 guys get opportunities. They're gone. I'd like to see Tyler Scott play. Season's over. It's about development at this point.
For your quarterback, who needs the best players on the field to help him.
And so
I
what?
don't think he's. I'm not handicapping Caleb Williams. I think he could have. He could
Okay.
Get
So hear this out, right? The past couple games, Keenan Allen and Caleb Williams have had a great chemistry on the field, connecting multiple touchdown passes, things like that.
Yep.
So why would you want to take?
Did you see that route he ran against the Lions?
I'm not trying to make it Tyler Scott versus Keenan. Okay.
You did that.
You said he shouldn't get.
I pivoted over to DeAndre Carter.
You backtracking now?
No, I'm no backtrack. I'm not.
Shout out to Steven who got the audio fixed, and shout out to Alejandro in the chat saying Carm's mic is too on now.
But I'm just thinking about it from that perspective, Carm. Right? That's your quarterback.
Watch
who
it.
you
I'm
said
coming after
it's
you in
all
a
about
second.
him. He said it's all about the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And one of his favorite targets.
That's what I heard when the audio was
One of his favorite targets is Keenan Allen right now.
Right.
I'm not.
Audio wasn't working.
I pivoted to DeAndre Carter.
Okay.
Let,
Okay, so DeAndre Carter. Let's go back to that conversation.
yeah, let's go back
Better
to it.
special teams player. They feel
Right.
more confident in him playing every position at wide receiver. Why are you rolling your eyes? That's
He does
Because it
this.
doesn't
He
matter.
does
It
this.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Carm,
Okay.
but
oh my God, it does matter. That's why Valus Jones is in Jacksonville. If you don't know what you're doing, you can't play.
well, and it's also about
This is the
you're
NFL.
talking about a roster spot that's going to get limited amount of snaps on offense. So as Corey's trying to tell you, if you can't contribute on special teams, you're unlikely to have that spot on the active roster on game day. That's just the reality. Tyler Scott
send
is
you
a capable wide receiver, but because there's a pecking order on how many people are going to get the ball on offense, you have to be able to contribute on special teams. And to this point, Tyler Scott does not.
Let me ask you a question. Just answer me this question. Why is it that when everybody leaves here, they seem to do better?
Oh,
What
I'm
is
sorry.
Valus-
I'm sorry. Which game has Valus Jones played
what
in
is
since
Valus
he
Jones
went to
doing?
How's
Jacksonville?
Darnell Mooney doing? Why don't we how's
Tyler-
Cordell Patterson doing? Do you know who's leading the San Francisco 49ers in sacks?
Leonard Floyd.
Leonard Floyd. Oh, why is it that everybody leaves here and somehow they get good? I just don't understand. Like, you telling me we know how to use players?
Okay. No, that's a totally different conversation. A completely
I'm
different.
just trying to get a
conversation.
player used. It's the same conversation to me, but okay.
Carm, I got a recommendation for you.
Let's hear it.
Okay, I want you to while I do this read, head out over there and walk down the street to Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary.
I already hit it. It was delicious.
Is that why you're tripping out right now?
I'm not sure.
Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. Unlike Carm's takes, they are not judgment-free. Sunnyside has a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from, with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. You can stop in the store nearest you throughout Illinois for expert guidance from their staff, or select from quality lines like Cresco or Florical. And limited time right now, the good news, Island Vibes, disposable vapes. You want to check those out. And running through the end of this month, Sunnyside's Scratch and Stash is back again this holiday season. You receive a scratch off card every time you shop, now through December 31st. And every card is a winner. You could win big, like 50% off or $100 off your next purchase. Hurry in to see what you win. Visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. All right, so
Wait, we got breaking news. We got breaking news. Pam from Ware is here, and she says, Mark, our night in Ware was magical. However, I told you I'm now with child, and you have refused to talk to me. You were responsible for this child too. Listen to you, Pam from Ware. You will not do that to Pam from Ware. Pam from Ware is a grandmother. She is a professional, and she was the greatest. And you will not sully her name with your super chat creativity.
Professional? The greatest?
Professional.
you didn't deny having relationships
Oh.
with her there, though.
I plead the fifth.
For those that might need that whiteboarded, Pam, the actual Pam from Ware, England, it was Carm's friend when we went to London.
Does that feel like a long time ago?
Yeah, well, it feels like the last time the Bears won a game.
It's the last time they won a game.
It's the last time the Bears won a game.
It's
A
unbelievable.
lot has happened.
It's so depressing.
What hotel were we in? We stayed at the Hyatt?
We
The
stayed
Hilton.
at
Oh, Doubletree.
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 Okay.
Come for me. Yeah, the
May-
Doubletree. You weren't there that night. That was a great night.
Whoa,
Were you
was
there
Pam
that night?
there?
No, Pam was not there. You were there that
Doubletree,
night.
come for me.
May I make
In the
an
streets
attempt?
of London, Doubletree Come For Me was a great tune. Brandon Spano can attest.
Adam, I know we have
Actually, he hated
a
it.
lot of things on the rundown here,
Yeah.
but may I make an attempt to get this show back on the tracks?
Yes, but it might require throwing Carm's laptop off
Yes.
the balcony.
If we can
Haven't looked at
mute
it all
Mark's mic
We
for the
know.
next 10 minutes.
All
Because,
right.
Corey, I want to ask you, there's been a lot of conversation about, how Thomas Brown's going to do as head coach and how the team's going to respond after Matt Eberflus been fired. But as Adam teed it up, you played under Eric Washington, not just with the Chicago Bears, but at Northwestern as
Northwestern, yeah.
well. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the impact that Eric Washington will have as the defensive play caller here. He's had some experience, calling plays with Carolina,
Buffalo as well, I think.
Buffalo as well, and then he did a little bit here in the preseason. And actually, in the preseason game that I believe he called plays in, they were like blitzing galore against the Bengals. Now it's a preseason game,
Yeah.
so I'm just curious your thoughts on how he is as the type of coach mentality wise, and how do you think he's going to translate today as the play caller for the Bears?
So
defense?
he's an old school type of coach, kind of like Rod Marinelli, who I've talked about. He coached with Rod Marinelli when I was on the Bears, and he holds people accountable. I think that's the biggest thing they have to do right now defensively, because they started out pretty good defensively, stopping the run, things of that nature, and then they got away from that the past couple of weeks. So I think there's one thing that I know is going to be present this game. They're going to stop the run, right? And then on these passing situations, they haven't been able to come home with 4. So I guarantee he's going to bring pressure on there. I know it goes against the Tampa 2 philosophy, but whenever you're struggling to get pressure, you got to bring it. So I would imagine TJ Edwards will come home on some blitzes today, Edmonds, guys like that. But I know he's going to stop the run and bring that pressure. But I expect them to play well today. I really do, because I'm looking at the 49ers, and without McCaffrey, without Mason, right? They've been without Brandon Ayuk for most of the season. Trent Williams is not there. So especially on the offense's left side, defense's right, they're going to try to bring pressure to that side, really exploit Trent Williams not being there. So I expect them to have a much better game. I think this team is going to come out ready to play, because there's one thing when you don't believe in a coach. Like I've been in that position. No disrespect at all to Mel Tucker, but he was the coordinator that came in after Lovey got fired under Mark Trestman, and people just didn't believe in him. You could just tell around the locker room, guys weren't doing the same things. The get off wasn't the same. The rallying to the football. And it starts to fill the locker room like wildfire, all these bad habits and things like that. So I guarantee, look at the effect of what Thomas Brown has done. Since he took over, it's been a different team. Has it been perfect? No. But you look at Caleb, looks confident. The offense looks. DJ Moore didn't even want to be here a couple weeks ago before Shane Waldron got fired. He looks reinvigorated. So I think the same thing is going to happen with the defense, because Eberflus, I think he lost defensively that locker room, right? Jalen Johnson had talked about it on 670, the score. He was just fed up with everything. And I think everybody was. So I would be honestly surprised if they don't have their best game defensively today.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I agree with you in terms of the effort level and all that, because I do think that they've slipped. You don't see as many guys rallying to the football, which was all over the film. And I do think part of an area where the hits principle actually did result in actual results. That being said, I am a little worried today, just because the guys being out for the 49ers is, favorable for the Bears. But going up against Kyle Shanahan in your first game calling a defense since 2018, that's not the easiest matchup.
No.
And so I am worried a little bit about that chess match between Kyle Shanahan and Eric Washington.
Exactly.
No tendencies, though, right? Is that the other side of the coin? Is that
Well, that's why I also wonder, is Eric Washington the type of guy who, has been sitting there being like, I would do this, I would do that. Or is he just going to kind of keep status quo and just hope everybody plays harder?
Well, I think he has nothing to lose at this point, right?
Yeah.
They know that there's going to be a decision about the staff at the end of the season. So if I'm him, I'm bringing the house. I'm cueing the Brian Flores, honestly. Like if I can in certain situations, because Brock Purdy, if you watch him the past couple of weeks, he's really struggled when they bring pressure on him, especially without some of those weapons. So I expect him to be very pass rush heavy, very blitz heavy today in a game like this.
I'll be disappointed if they don't bring more pressure.
Corey, you've talked a lot about, you've told the story many times on our program about Rod Marinelli lighting a fire under your ass when you were with the Bears. Can you recall any moment where you say Eric Washington is a guy that's going to hold guys accountable? Can you recall any specific moment where Eric Washington?
Yeah, with me. So after my redshirt sophomore season, so my redshirt freshman year, I was like
at Northwestern.
Yeah, at Northwestern, I was All-American, had a really great season. And then the next year I came back and had 1 sack. So I remember after the season happened, him and Coach Fitz, I have a meeting with them as we have a meeting with the coaches every year. And they came in there. I was like, "What's up, coaches?" They're like, "You're an embarrassment." And I was like, "What?" They're like, what you did last year compared to this year? 1 sack for a player your caliber? That's embarrassing, right? Like you should be ashamed of yourself. Like,
wow.
Like, and I was literally like, "Oh shoot!" And they reamed me. I mean, I can't even say what exactly they said, but I put exactly a snippet of it on my wall, and every day I looked at that, right, and that motivated the hell out of me. And then my next year, I had All-American. Was one of the leaders in the Big Ten in sacks, and I really feel like that light a fire under my ass just because I was like, it's all about pushing people's buttons and getting the best out of them. And I think that's something that Eric Washington, like Rod Marinelli, like Pat Fitzgerald, really do well. And I really feel like that took not only me, but some other players on our team that kind of had similar years at Northwestern and then turned it into great years. And I think defensively, that's when Mike Hankiewicz came in and that impact that he had. We went from a bottom barrel defense to 08, one of the best in the Big Ten. So there's something about when a coach, gets under you, you have to look at it and say, listen, he cares about me. He wants the best out of me. And I think it's just finding that balance of what's going to motivate somebody. And I think Eric Washington has done a good job about that throughout his career.
Yeah, but do you see anyone on the Bears defensive line if they got that talking to?
Jervon Dexter, like he's somebody that comes to mind, especially some of the younger players, right?
Okay. I mean,
Darrell Taylor,
see, I can see it with Taylor. I think Dex is giving his max effort. I just don't know if he's good enough.
Well, now we can go in a completely different direction for off-season talk. But I am interested to see what happens with this defense, what direction they end up going, because it's kind of wild to me, Woot, that they, as much as we sat here and talked about the 3 technique position for the last 3 seasons under Matt Eberflus, they never got that position right. Yeah. It was the first move they tried to make with Larry Ogunjobi, and that went south. They passed on Jalen Carter later.
Did you watch him today?
Yes, I watched Jalen Carter dominate every single week.
It's unbelievable.
And every single week I lose a year off my life because of it.
Well, the problem is with Jalen Carter early in the season, right?
He's too good.
Jervon Dexter had a bunch of sacks, and they were like, "Oh, look at Jalen Carter." Sometimes sack numbers don't give you the
watching
full
the
picture.
film, it would have been idiotic to be like, "Oh, Dexter's playing better than Jalen Carter." Just watch it.
Yeah.
But maybe they're going to change schemes now. And then maybe Dexter will actually end up playing back in his read and react, and maybe he'll end up I don't know, but but I'm also, by the way, Jalen Carter could probably play in multiple different schemes too. He's just kind of that good.
He's that talented. It's somebody like J.J. Watt, right? He could have played potentially in any of the schemes over there, 3-4, 4-3, hybrid.
He
whatever.
Basically did.
Yeah,
I mean he.
And speaking of that, whatever coordinator they decide, I wouldn't mind somebody like Robert Saleh, who is a little bit of both. He's kind of like Dan Quinn, runs that 4-3, 3-4 hybrid where you have multiple guys that can play, 5 technique, a 3 that are great pass rushers. So I wouldn't mind something like that. Saleh as a head coach, it just didn't work out. Some people aren't fit for that. But I feel like as a defensive coordinator, I know he's over in Green Bay right now but I'm sure he's going to want a coordinator position next year.
Well, along those lines, biggest difference in your mind for him? Because you hear guys say, not a head coach, which is what they would say about Matt Eberflus. Some guys would at least. What do you think is the biggest difference between because you can't get to being a DC or an OC in the NFL without having some leadership qualities. But what do you think is the biggest difference between somebody who's just can get to that level but can't do the next?
So I think some of it is obviously picking the right personnel, the coaching staff, and some people miss the mark on that because they try to hire friends or people that they've worked with before as opposed to the best person for that job. And then I feel like game time critical decisions. And I think we've seen it from Matt Eberflus. When the game's on the line, he struggled to make those critical game time decisions. So I think that's a mark of a great coach. And sometimes it takes time because most of these people that are interviewing for new head coaching spots, they've never been a head coach before. So it's having the right personnel behind you to help you through these situations, because you're not going to learn it overnight. But I think it's having that person in your back pocket that maybe was a former coach, that's almost a consultant for your team, that helps you out with a lot of those critical game time decisions.
We are going to learn a little bit more about that exact thing and how that goes today with Thomas Brown and Chris Beatty taking a part of that role of what you're talking about, Corey. I have 5 criteria I'm going to be looking for in evaluating Thomas Brown, the head coach, today. I'll share that with you in our next segment. But first, we do have to go out to Santa Clara, because we got our guy, Nicholas Moriano. I feel like Nick fits into California just like
He does
pretty perfectly. Just a seamless transition out there, I feel like. Nick, your first time out there at Levi Stadium. What are your impressions?
I'm now going to start covering the 49ers, you guys. This press box is freaking amazing. They have a candy bar here, guys, and if you know me, I have a sweet tooth, a bit of a sweet tooth. So they have literally everything here, but very impressive. Actually, really quickly, you guys were talking about Eric Washington, who we can maybe spark a fire under. The one guy I thought of was Zach Pickens. He was out here, Eric Washington. They were working exclusively together just in some defensive lineman drills, and that's somebody who there's a lot left to be seen from Zach Pickens being a 3rd-round pick out of South Carolina, but somebody that I think just needs to start playing with more aggression. Let's see what he could potentially do under Eric Washington. But when you guys were bringing up that conversation, Zach Pickens was the guy that immediately came to my mind about who can potentially become better because of Eric Washington being the DC now.
Yeah, I think that would be good to see him flash, because he's somebody, like you talked about, really hasn't been as productive as we hoped or expected. We've seen a little bit more from Dexter. But somebody I want to see take the next step is Gervon Dexter. He has all the tools, right? He has the size. He has the quickness. Can he take the next step? He's too inconsistent at times, and I understand he's coming from a college scheme at Florida where it's 2-gap, but can he take the next step and be a consistent, productive 3 technique?
Well, Corey, I think this would be a good opportunity for him to take advantage of. Right now, they have Aaron Banks, their left guard. He's out, so you're most likely going to see Ben Barch at the left guard position. He's only played 55 snaps all season. So if you're looking for potential matchups and where the Bears can exploit some of the injuries that the 49ers are dealing with, it's at left guard with Ben Barch being out. Trent Williams is out, so you'll probably see Jalen Moore out there. He has 111 snaps all year right now. So if you're the defensive ends on this team, the guys inside, when you're running twists, stunts, and hopefully we'll see more creativity with Eric Washington, it's a great opportunity to do so, especially against that left side of this 49ers offensive line.
Hey, Nick, you put some pictures up of Ryan Poles and John Lynch hanging out. How long?
Should we tell him?
Yeah.
Time out. Oh, here we go. John Lynch. We're gonna deflate this right now. That was not John Lynch. It was a John Lynch lookalike. And I did end up finding John Lynch later. The only guy he spoke with was Richard Hightower. So they had a nice little catching up. Hightower and John Lynch overlapped back in 2017 through 2021. So no John Lynch, no Ryan Poles conversation.
Don't yell at me. He told you in Slack. You didn't look at Slack.
You made a big deal out of it. You got in my headspace, but I take back that question.
Nick, I apologize for Carm. He's having a tough day at the office today, I'll tell you.
No, Carm's having a great day.
We need to make that a t-shirt.
If the Bears come out the way Carm has for this pregame show, we're going to be in a lot of trouble here today.
Down 20 to nothing.
Let's go back to Thursday's show.
I bounced back.
Yeah, you did. You're doing a great job. Your takes have been exquisite all day long. Nick, how many carries is Travis Homer going to get today? Give me a guess on that.
Ooh, it was interesting because with the first team offense, it wasn't Swift in there who actually got the first handoff. It was actually Darrington Evans. So not even Travis Homer. Eventually, Swift kind of mixed in there. So I think we're going to see some Darrington Evans, some Travis Homer, some DeAndre Swift. I don't know how good that ankle is, but a number for Travis Homer. Let's put the over under 3.5. I'll take the over at like 4 carries. But it was interesting seeing Swift go in a couple plays later after the first team offense was just kind of warming up.
So, Nick, we were talking about the keys to the game. For you, for a Bears victory, what's the key? What do you think the one area is they gotta get done?
Yeah, the Bears need to establish the run game in this one, you guys, with the 49ers giving up 389 total yards in back-to-back games, and the Bills and Packers total 389 yards. Like, you got to, with those injured running backs, find a way to exploit a defense that doesn't have Nick Bosa. And you got to be able to do that to set the play action pass up with Caleb Williams here. And if you get in the red zone, Woot, this 49ers defense, 31st in the league in red zone defense. So when you get down there, it's getting touchdowns and not field goals, because we know Kyle Shanahan, regardless of who he has missing on the offense, is going to make those guys work and get some good production out of those players. And look, there's no way George Kittle's only going to catch one pass on the first play of the game like he did last week against the Bills, and that's going to be the game plan this week. That's not happening. You're going to get George Kittle involved. You're going to get these 49ers pass catchers involved. But you start with the rushing attack, get those guys going, and when you get in the red zone, you have to capitalize with touchdowns.
Darrington Evans, I should say, plus 1,600 to score a touchdown today.
Interesting. So, Nick, I know you follow kind of what the pregame routines of different guys on the team are, especially Ryan Polsey and Cunningham. I know I saw some different pictures from you here pregame, but did you notice anything different or unique about what Thomas Brown is doing here for his first time pregame routine as the interim head coach of the Chicago Bears?
I was waiting for him the entire time, Greg, and he came out a little bit later. So as I was kind of scouting and looking out in the entire field, I'm like, where is Thomas Brown? Where is Thomas Brown? But he eventually made his way over to the quarterback, centers, and running backs when they were kind of just working on the snap exchange and then handoff. So I didn't get a good feel of what his routine is. I'm sure he's still trying to figure out what his new routine is as the head coach of his football team. But he came out a little later, but everything else kind of seemed pretty status quo. You saw most of the assistant coaches working with the same exact guys. Eric Washington, like I said earlier, he was working with Zach Pickens kind of one-on-one, but he'd been doing that too, working with a little bit with the defensive linemen. So not too much different so far. You saw the special teams guys going out there attempting field goals. So I think we'll have to wait another game maybe to see if there's any tendencies that come up from Thomas Brown and what he likes to do pregame.
All I know is that dude likes a little ice cream to get himself ready for the game. Puts a little. I mean, this is like totally my guy.
Are you gonna explain that, or?
Well, Courtney Cronin had a tweet out there. I should explain it. You're right, Hoge. Absolutely. Cronin's tweet. Thomas Brown on his routine night before games. Double scoop of vanilla ice cream with Oreo crumbles and or Snickers.
Is that up your wheelhouse or what?
I mean, I'm not a huge ton of candy type of person, but if I am gonna go into a Dairy Queen situation, the Oreo is an excellent choice. You can't go away from it. And just the fact that he's in the ice cream family is big.
So is the diet over? Because guy lost 23 pounds in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, no. So now he's got the. Maybe you're right.
Maybe
he's the head coach. I feel comfortable.
Sugar-free Oreo, sugar-free Snickers.
No. T. Brown's not doing that.
Sugar-free Snickers.
Thomas Brown is real.
They got it all.
What would be in a sugar-free Snickers?
He's not doing no dairy-free vanilla ice cream.
He gonna be on the toilet because that stuff that sweetener. Oh boy.
I like the move. If they win today, I'm having it on the way home. It's 100% stopping.
Well, okay. They have an ice cream bar. They have an ice cream bar over here. So if that ends up happening, the Bears get their first victory and snap the 6-game winning streak. But I'm also going to go get some ice cream here, and that's how we should celebrate on CHGO. The Bears snap their 6-game winning streak. Everyone gets ice cream.
I don't know if they still do it at Levi's because I can't remember from the one game I covered there. But back in Candlestick, they had a keg of beer in the press box after the game.
Wow. What year was that? That wasn't 2012, was it?
Yeah, that was 2012.
Oh, God.
That was 2012.
It gives me nightmares.
The beer was necessary.
Yeah. Two of them.
Patrick Finley doing keg stands. I can
Larry
see
Merritt was telling me that.
Oh, yeah. It was bad, that 2012. Hopefully that doesn't happen today.
They got a Jack and Diet in there for you.
Oh, yeah.
Or Crown and Diet. I'm sorry.
Either way.
Okay. Either way.
Whiskey and diet.
There you go.
Oh, I thought you've been working out.
Whiskey is,
healthy.
not too many carbs in whiskey and diet. Have a few.
I mean, the Coke that'll get you eventually. The Coke will eventually get you.
9 Cokes.
The sugary drink.
You know what, Nick?
Hey, Nick, he's been working out a bunch, and he feels like he's been doing
machine. Did you work out today, Nick?
Hold on.
Did you work out today,
You didn't
Nick?
see my tweet? You didn't see my tweet? I'm on day 20, Greg. Catch up.
Yeah. Oh.
No.
He puts it on Twitter. You should know this.
No, nobody should be talking about working out. It's called beating Steve in the CETA at Midtown Athletic Club. Just straight domination. Down 5-2. Wasn't dominating. Just the will to win. came back, took the set.
Steve is 78 years old.
The will to win, right here.
A geriatric.
You guys can get it. You guys can do all the ellipticals, whatever you
You're
do.
happy about beating a geriatric. He's 70-something, right?
Steve's like Actually, I asked Steve how old he was. Steve was 57.
Oh, okay.
Steve was a battler. It's called I went 1-0 today. Can you go 1-0 today? Let's go Bears. 1-0, Carm. Anybody else in here, including you, Pizzatola, Blaze the Nugs turning on me. I don't see anybody else here going 1-0.
What just turned on you? Nick. Anything
Blaze
else?
the Nugs is not my guy anymore.
Nick, please.
I'll remember that Blaze the Nugs.
Anything else you can share with us from the stadium? Please.
No, I can't save you guys. I'm just gonna leave you with whatever just happened there, and I'll see you guys after the game.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Great stuff. Nicholas Moriano, follow him.
Hold on,
Follow
Nick,
at
too.
CHGO
Didn't like that ending either. Save. Don't sneeze. The only person that needs saving on the show is yours truly.
Yeah.
And I would like apologies from all three of you for the brilliance that I brought today.
Greg, do you feel the same way as me when he comes in the studio and then immediately is like, I have to go, like, lock myself in a room, and we're still, I'd probably say if there's more than 45 minutes left before showtime and he does that, I'm more worried than ever. Because those are the days where he comes out.
Those are the days.
Yes, no, it is.
Those are the days.
The days you go lock yourself in Studio B or wherever you lock yourself.
Right in there.
I do it every day. Literally every day.
Nah.
I went in to say what's up to him, and I was to give him a dap, and he's like,
Get out of here.
I was like,
Well, my point is, some days it's like 20 minutes. Other days it's like an hour. And the longer you spend in that room, the weirder you come out being like, Tyler Scott should play over Keenan Allen.
you're not serious about that, right? You were just having a moment.
Look,
It's a senior moment.
Let me help you out. Let me help you out.
Oh,
We don't need to go back to this, but I'm just gonna tell all three of you right now on what is today, December the what? Keenan Allen's not gonna be on the Bears next year.
You can't say that.
I can't. Okay, I'm making a
Okay.
prediction. I'm making a prediction. He was not gonna be here.
You just never know. Price-wise, if it makes sense,
you're right.
and Caleb wants him,
I'd say it's more likely he's on the Bears next year than Tyler Scott.
You know what?
I agree with that.
Certainly the way it's going, yeah. Okay, let's get our youth some action.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear your list of things you want to see from
Okay.
Thomas Brown, while Carm maybe makes a list of things that'll help him to be more prepared for the post-game show.
Killed him.
That's really that is so rich.
Jesus got destroyed by Gregory P. Allen Bragg.
Let me put everything I can into when I get to talk to Lance Briggs, and then I'll just show up for the rest of the time.
Yes, I know, Mark.
All right.
You're a real stranger to responsibility at this fine establishment.
Here
called
we go.
CHGO
Here we go,
Sports.
guys.
All right, Hogan.
All right.
Maybe one
I
day
got
they'll give
5
you
things
something.
I will be evaluating Thomas Brown on today. And the first one is still the operation of the offense, because he is still calling the plays. And everybody, the people that were all worried about Thomas Brown taking over the interim head coaching job because what it would have to do with Caleb. Okay, fine. This one's for you. How does the overall operation of the offense continue as Thomas Brown moves from upstairs to downstairs, on the sideline, calls the plays? The second, pre-snap penalties. TB himself said this week that it was one of the first things he addressed with that team meeting on Monday when everyone got back from their little mini bye, and cleaning that up. So is it cleaned up? Is there a downtick, I guess I should say, in the pre-snap penalties? And by the way, that goes to the defense too. Byron Cowart jumping off sides on a high school play last week. Both sides of the ball, clean that up. Number 3, overall communication, the coaching staff and game management. We heard pretty blatantly from Chris Beatty this week that, I mean, you don't have to be a genius to figure this one out, but the communication hasn't been great, right? Between the coaching staff, between the decisions that are being made. So how does Thomas Brown clean that up? Because that is now under his watch. And it sounds like these coaches got together this week to clean some of that stuff up on their headsets. And how does that result in better decisions during the game? I'm talking challenges. I'm talking timeout usage. And then, of course, decisions made in crucial situations. Effort level. how much do these players come out and play for Thomas Brown, for this revamped coaching staff right now? And I would say this, especially on defense. We talked about this earlier in the show. Is there an uptick in the defense in terms of kind of returning to more of that hits principle that, you could laugh at the hits principle all you want. There's some reasons to do that, sure. But these guys were rallying to the ball constantly earlier in the season, and I felt like that was starting to slip in recent weeks. So the overall effort level will be indicative on how they're playing for Thomas Brown. And then finally, an obvious one, but still incredibly important. I expect this game to come down in the fourth quarter again. I expect the Bears to have a chance to win this game in the fourth quarter. So fourth quarter execution, not only from the players, but from decisions made by the coaching staff, by the head coach. This was the number one reason why Matt Eberflus was fired. And just, can we have any competency in that area? So those are the 5 things I'll be looking for today with Thomas Brown, and how I'll be evaluating him on the postgame show, which will start the second this game is over.
You had me at pre-snap penalties.
Can I add something to this, too, that I think is a huge test for him in this game and the last 5 games? Tyreek Stevenson, I don't know if you guys caught this here the last couple of days, but he got fined $20,000, and a lot of Bears fans were surprised because Jamison Williams threw the ball at Tyreek Stevenson, and Jamison Williams got the penalty in the game, and then all of a sudden Tyreek Stevenson is the one that gets the fine after, the next week. Well, the reason is because Tyreek Stevenson tripped Jamison Williams as he came off the sideline. So to me, this is a big test for Thomas Brown. Tyreek Stevenson continues to do things week in and week out, and if he does something again this week, you have to put your foot down as a team and as the leader and head coach to say, we are not doing this anymore. And it's not just Tyreek Stevenson. Anyone across the board that wants to do things that are out of pocket. It's one thing to defend your quarterback or defend yourself when a player's doing something. It's another thing to do some Bush League garbage, like trip someone as they're coming to the sidelines. And so for that's the kind of stuff that needs to get cleaned up with this team. The discipline across the board, we can talk about the penalties, we can talk about all this stuff, but when it comes to stuff like that, especially with Tyreek, who's time and again shown us that he's just not getting it, especially after the Hail Mary, poking people in the eye, poking Nico Collins in the eye, poking a guy in Washington in the eye, tripping Jamison Williams. He cannot be the one to continue to make these mistakes.
Great point by you, Gregory. And the thing is that they've benched him, they've they've diminished him, they've done everything, and nothing has gotten there.
This last one, he was on the bench.
Right. I mean,
when he tripped him, he was on the bench. He wasn't even in the game.
But I think that's the thing. Like, for some people, that lights a fire under him. For him, he's like, whatever.
I'm gonna
this is what I'm gonna do. What I want.
All right, we are 7 minutes from game time, so we gotta speed this up a little bit with our. We'll get to our prop bets. And I am going to stick with what's working here. I was looking at two different things. By the way, if you want to get wild, I don't hate the Darrington Evans touchdown. He is an explosive player, and if he is going to get carries, you can look at that one. But I was originally looking at Caleb just going over 250-ish yards again, because we've seen this uptick since Thomas Brown took over. But what we've really seen an uptick in is DJ Moore getting the football, and he has been explosive the last 2 games. He's getting up there near 100 yards. So I'm going to go DJ Moore, 90-plus receiving yards at plus 340 for my prop bet today.
Fred Warner leads the San Francisco 49ers in interceptions with 2. The Bears running back room is not great. Caleb Williams, you can get 4-1 on plus 275. Roughly 360, so 3.5-1. I took that. Caleb, let's go. Let's have a day. Let's that Niner secondary has been giving up. I mean, yards aplenty. So let's go.
Yeah.
Well, Carm, you said you wanted a fast start for the Bears. Well, for plus 330, you can get if the Bears score a touchdown on their first drive. And so I would love to see that from Thomas Brown. First time as head coach. Let's see some things we've never seen before.
That fist pump.
Give me a touchdown on the first drive of the game for the Bears offense. I know I'm asking for a lot here.
It's only plus 330?
Yeah, plus 330.
I would take those odds against San Francisco the way they're playing defensively.
It would be something if they march right down the field.
For how the Bears offense has done this year, that should be 20-1.
I was going to say, those odds aren't probably as good as they should be. All right, now our game predictions presented by Ray Auto Group. We love our friends at Ray, and we want you to make sure you check them out on Route 12 in Fox Lake. Well, we almost had a consensus here, and what's scary, the first anomaly I want to point out is how 3 of the 6 scores on your screen are the same.
That's one. Keep going. There's also weird things going on there.
Okay, well, 24-20. And you know who else picked the Bears to win 24-20? Adam Johns did.
Oh.
So, popular pick. The other is that everybody on the screen except for this guy to my left is picking the Bears to win. Carm, you have the 49ers 26-20.
I do. Look, I'm not going to go through all the reasons of it other than the fact that, look, you at this point you have to prove it, that you're going to win a game. As optimistic and as hopeful I am for Thomas Brown that this can go well, I still just got queasy picking him today because I knew everyone was going to, and that is Kyle Shanahan, that is Deebo Samuel, that is Brock Purdy, who I know he's got a sore shoulder, but, like, can the Bears defense actually stop him? I don't know. I would have. I mean, maybe they'll take a step up today. Maybe they won't. Yeah. So I also think 5 of us, all of the 6 there, all had 20 as a score in there. So our score creativity needs to improve.
Yeah.
The only one that doesn't is Kadek with 23-22.
Well, I think this is a game offensively where this stacks up well for the Bears. Bosa's not in. Nick talked about the statistic in the red zone. They struggled defensively. So I think here's an opportunity where in the red zone, Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen, and company have performed well the past couple of weeks. So I think this is a big confidence-building game for them. I think you're sleeping on the importance of Thomas Brown being the head coach now, Eric Washington being elevated. And at this point, there was really nothing for them to play for. Now it gives them something in addition, a coach that they believe in, a coach that they can rally behind. So I expect them to have a really good performance and start fast. And how great would that be to have a touchdown your first drive and then have a 3-and-out defensively? That would be the perfect scenario for me.
Yeah, I picked the Bears to win 24-20, but I'm not going to lie. I mean, this year picking this team is damn near impossible. They are the most unpredictable team. They haven't found their identity. I think they've tried to find it here over these last 3 weeks offensively with Thomas Brown, but you just don't know what to expect with this team week to week. You know, when they were 4-2 leaving London, we all thought, hey man, here we go. Let's go on a run. And then it all falls apart. We're like, okay, they're done. And then all of a sudden these last 3 weeks, they played some of their best football offensively against 3 of their toughest teams. Who would have knew? Who knew? So now we're all expecting them to come out with a sense of urgency today. That's what I'm hopeful for. But they lay an egg today. Is that going to surprise me? No. So I just kind of throw my hands up trying to figure out what this team's going to do week to week. Hope for the best. Try to expect the worst, even though I'm optimistic leaning type of fan. But this season's kind of got us all in a whirlwind.
All right, quickly, your super chats to end our pregame show. Ian Fitzpatrick, $5. Are we just having hot takes for the sake of it? Meatball City, bear down.
I really don't think it's a hot take to play young players, but go ahead.
Osmos, $7.99. Not sure what currency that is. I'm with Woot. Bears are going to come out and have their best game of the season. Caleb to pass for over 300.
Let's go, Asmo.
Arctic, $2. Agreed, Carm. Anything the Bears think, do the opposite.
Thank you, Arctic.
All right. That's going to do it for us. We are going to go watch this game. We're going to enjoy the game. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the Bears' first win since London. And that'll be as soon as the game is over. The link is already on the CHGO channel on YouTube, so you can find it. Hit the notifications. They'll let you know right when we go live. Talk to you after the game.
We all silly like the mayor.